Hello. It is currently nighttime. There is this thing going on in Blue Sky where there's a game organized by Alfred Valley involving 100 participants, and it's called Valley 100. And because there's 100 participants, there needs to be a portrait for each participant. So it requires 100 of them. I'm not gonna draw 100, obviously, and I'm not gonna contribute 100, but I offered to draw a few. Here's some that I've already drawn. Each of these took me, I want to say, 3 to 5 minutes per. So I kind of sped through them a little bit. This is some, warming up that I did for this recording session, I guess. I'm gonna be using some reference, I'll be putting it up on the screen. But at the moment, I just want to kind of sit down and draw and maybe ramble on a bit. Just real quick, I guess. I've been having massive health issues as always. I've been having some pretty bad headaches for a full week now. It's getting better now, I can go for walks and stuff, but, let me actually tone down the music a bit. I won't go into it too much, but I'm having a month-long medical procedure in February. So currently, as of the recording of this video, it's February 2nd. And the reason I mention all of that is because I'm gonna mess up some sentences here and there, and I wanted to try not editing down the video, so not editing it at all. Or at least minimally. I have some notes so that I won't go off tangent too much. And, let me put this away. The reason why, I guess, is because I have a lisp, and I find that when I'm editing videos, or when I have the option to edit videos, I will keep repeating sentences. That will make the whole thing feel less natural, and I'd have to edit more, and that made me want to record less. Also, I think it's still too loud. But yeah, the cassette player is part of that. It forces me, not to be able to edit down the video. So hopefully I can still concentrate on drawing and talking at the same time. But we'll see how it goes. For those of you who are interested, the soundtrack I'm listening to right now is Thousand Empty Light. It's music by Gus BC for Alfred Valley's fantastic solo RPG. I believe the original soundtrack was called something like Sleeping in a Drowning Stone, I think. Yeah, I think it was something like that. So, why this divide between edited videos and live streams? I sometimes wonder that myself because, when I'm looking at my edited videos, they're more to the point. At least the more recent ones are more to the point. I hope they are. Live streams are a lot more, I suppose, a lot more rambly. Or I ramble a lot more often. I find it interesting how different I sound in the live streams and also in the, edited down video. So despite being ostensibly a YouTuber, I still find myself very kind of socially awkward, I guess, in terms of, well, not just socially awkward, I feel like I'm quite bad at articulating what I want to say sometimes, and I feel like because I put out these videos and because I also live stream, I feel like I have more practice in that, I guess. So I am getting better at it, I suppose. Over time, I feel like I've gotten more used to the entire process. But, maybe I'll never get used to it, and maybe that's okay. But yeah, I do find that I sound quite a bit more natural in the live streams. So I wanted to bridge that gap, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to bridge that gap as kind of an experiment. So even if I mess up, even if I say things wrongly, I have to remind myself it's okay. Nobody's gonna, knock down my door or kind of force me to make a perfect video or anything like that. So this is just my attempt at trying that out. I think I'm gonna try to make this guy an elf, maybe a more elderly looking elf, live for maybe 1,000 years. I think that'll be cool. So yeah, I've been drawing in pencil a lot more. It's quite fun. And I should just mention before I go on to this topic, I won't be doing this all the time. I'll still be doing edited down videos, and I'll still be doing live streams and all of that stuff. But, why not try new things out? Like, I guess what I'm doing here with pencils. I've been drawing a lot more in pencils recently, and it's fun. I tend to just use pencils as kind of a scaffolding. It's kind of like a sketch, I guess. And then I go in with inks. But, I wanted to try and see whether I could make the pencils the entire thing. So what I've been doing is I've been drawing these things out, and then I will scan them in. And I'd use Noise Dystopia Machine, which is my Photoshop plugin, and it darkens everything up. And I just said I won't edit down the video, but I might at least put up a overlay of what that might look like on the screen. But yeah, like, the topic I want to cover today, at least in so much as I can cover it, is trying out new things. I have a lot of creative hobbies, so as you know, I do art like I'm doing right now. I also do some writing, a little bit here and there, mostly for RPG stuff, but yeah, I don't really write fiction or anything like that. I guess I do write logs of my solo RPG adventures from time to time, but I also do programming. Haven't done that in a bit, but I used to do it fairly frequently. Used to be my main thing, actually. Do miniature painting, sculpting, etc. But, even within the same field, like drawing, deviation is important, I think. And the reason that is important to me is, well, there's a few reasons, right? The first thing is that it can be very enjoyable. I feel like if you keep doing the same thing over and over, it can quickly get quite boring, especially if you're getting used to it and you're like, oh, this is what I'm good at. You can kind of get stuck in a rut a little bit. And it's incredible how enjoyable it can be to kind of break out of that rut. I believe I said I was going to make this guy an elf, so I'm going to actually change this up a little bit. I'm going to give them pointier ears. And I'm also going to give them more of longer eyebrows, I suppose. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it is very enjoyable to step out and do new things outside of your regular field. Like I'm usually used to ink drawings and stuff like that, and using pencils as a scaffolding. So kind of doing the entire thing in pencil is new for me, but is creating a new result that I really enjoy. And you can surprise yourself. It's also very humbling. I think it's easy to look at different creative fields or even different types of art within the same field, like drawing or painting, and not understand the lengths that the person went through to get to that stage, right? Like, it's easy to either do that, or even worse, you might look at something like a pencil, drawing a fantastically done pencil rendering and go, I can never do that. So there's a few ways that it can be negative. But actually sitting down and trying it out can make you learn a few things, not just about the practice, but about yourself as well. So when I'm doing these pencil drawings, the main difference that I have from ink work is that for ink work, it's very much binary. It's very much black or white. In order to get gradations in tone, you generally have to do hatching. I'm approaching it much like an ink drawing, but I'm going lighter in certain areas still. I'm not doing the full gamut where I'm like shading using the side of the pencil, but maybe I'll get into that a bit later on. We'll see. But yeah, so it's very enjoyable. It's a humbling experience. And on top of all that, when you're trying out these new things, a lot of the time you can learn things that will apply back to your main hobby or your main field. So, like even stuff like miniature painting, kind of informed how I did my paintings for a while, like 2D paintings, stuff like that, right? There's a lot of ways that I guess different things, like even like writing, can affect your drawing experience and stuff like that. It's really quite magical. It's like maybe it's an obvious thing to say, but like it's kind of the sum totality of our experiences when we're like doing these creative fields and we're putting stuff out there. I tend to mention quite a bit to people who ask me about how to get better at certain creative hobbies. And I'll mention that it's important to be at the edge of your comfort zone a lot of the time. What I mean by this is you should always strive to be not so comfortable that you stop learning, but not so uncomfortable that it becomes a chore, that you want to stop doing it. You want to aim for somewhere on the edge. So that's what I mean by being at the edge of your comfort zone, right? The problem with this is I find that when you do that long enough, you definitely will start to hit, well, even if you don't do it, but especially if you try to ride that edge of your comfort zone, you will hit plateaus and roadblocks. And plateaus and roadblocks are important things because that's when you really learn. But sometimes you can't push through completely. It's very hard to sometimes. And when that happens, what I recommend is don't take a break completely, but maybe switch it up. like for my drawings, like right now I'm doing this pencil work. There's enough of a switch up, I think, for me to learn a few new things about drawing. Let's give this guy some arc tasks. There you go. I'm also going a lot slower, I realize, for this particular illustration. I think that's fine. I'm definitely not doing one portrait every 3 to 5 minutes with this one. But turns out, as I'm kind of like experimenting right now, talking while also drawing and kind of, you know, keeping on track for both, it's pretty tough. Pretty tough, but pretty enjoyable, I'd say. It's just nice because, like I mentioned earlier, I've been having such a problem with headaches and with so many health issues that it's nice to just be able to sit down, draw, talk, things that I guess will usually be normal for me, but I haven't had as much of an opportunity to do recently, I guess. I also get asked about, I mentioned I get asked about creative hobbies and stuff like that. Some of my friends have started drawing, and of course at the start it's important to learn all the fundamentals, right? It's important to learn, like perspective, color theory, composition, all these things that, even stuff like, like just rendering light and shadow, stuff like that. That's important, especially at the start. But it kind of made me think, and kind of made me think about what I'm currently doing to improve myself creatively. And I'm not saying I'm a master of any of this, but I feel like I have an okay grasp on the fundamentals, at least to an extent. Not fully. And it's something that you have to always keep up. You can't just stop doing it, otherwise you will deteriorate. But I realized the thing that can help me the most, at least at the current moment in time, is outside of art per se. And that kind of comes back to my original topic of learning outside your field. So, you can only cook with what's in the fridge. I saw this video on YouTube recently by, I believe, Tim Moss. I'll try to put a link to his channel in the description below. But, you can only cook with what's in the fridge. You can only kind of express the sum totality of your experiences. I think that there's a lot of ways to get ideas for things. There's, watching movies, there's playing games, even conversation, and I guess especially stuff like, life experiences, right? All of that kind of plays a part. What I've been trying to do recently is I've been trying to get out of the trap I find myself so often stuck in, where I get obsessed with the act of creation. I just mentioned about doing other things outside of your creative hobby, I guess, but what I'm mentioning right now is also the act of consuming is very important. So to create output, you have to have some input. And my goal for this year is to read more books. I want to get more ideas from history, and also from fiction. I've currently been reading The Broken Sword by Paul Anderson, and I've been really enjoying it. I'd highly recommend it if you're into fantasy at all. It's a great book. I believe that it influenced Michael Moorcock in a huge way. I think one of the quotes that he gave was that it kicked Lord of the Rings into a cocked hat, which I found to be a very funny quote. But that aside, I'm trying to draw a dwarf right now. But yeah, that aside, I've also been reading some Gene Wolfe, Shadow of the Torturer, as well as The Black Company. I've been reading. I'm on book 3 at the moment, but I took a break from it to read Gene Wolfe. Then, after I read a bunch of Gene Wolfe, I went on to what I'm currently at, which is The Broken Sword. And I read very, very slowly. I read incredibly slowly, but I wanted to just keep it consistent and just read more in general. Been trying to make a habit of it, I guess. Used to be a voracious reader, but I suppose that's declined over time, like it has for many people, I'm sure. So yeah, this video didn't really have a point per se, but suppose what I'm recommending is, and what I've been thinking about is the importance of the expansion of horizons, the importance of trying out new things and learning. And that's not to de-emphasize the focus on technical mastery. Still very important. Knowing how to control your pencil if you're drawing, or knowing basic prose if you're writing, or if you're doing programming, knowing certain fundamentals. Oh, music's over. But I'd say that at some point, for most creative endeavors, beyond the fundamentals, and for drawing beyond the motor skills, skill kind of becomes based on personal preferences, right? An internal compass of sorts. So what I'm saying is, it's important to know what direction you want to go in. I think that's the most important thing for creatives, especially those who have been in their field for a while. The important thing is to not just get stuck in one place and that being the end of it. So yeah, I hope this was not too rambly of a video, and I hope at the very least you got some enjoyment out of me drawing. And if you did, do tell me about it. I am interested to know what you guys think about me maybe doing more of these kind of videos. I suppose there's not really any strong focus to it, but it's a lot more of me sharing my thoughts on creativity, and also maybe RPGs in general in the future, or maybe I go more in depth into certain technical stuff in drawing. But yeah, let me know what you think, and take care. Bye bye.